Hello. In this tutorial, we'll be looking at water quality data for the Charles River to learn how to use the map, timeline, and bar chart tools in iSENSE. For this project, water quality data were collected at two locations on the Charles River, Watertown Dam and Museum of Science, over the course of 2 years. Let's load up the visualizations and have a look at the data. The first thing that we are going to look at is the map. On the right, we can see all of the tools that we can use to change the map. We have our groups right now set to our datasets, Museum of Science and Watertown Dam, and other tools, heat maps, we can view a variable on the map, and other things like display markers, connect markers, and cluster markers. So what we're seeing here are two clusters, one with 50 points and one with 52 points, where our data were collected. A cluster means that the data were collected in similar locations, and if we drill down on one and click on it, we can see that they were in fact collected at the same location. If you click on the inner one, we can see that the innermost point is the newest, December 26, 2012, and the outmost one is the oldest, January 10th, 2011. If we zoom out, we can see that one of our markers, the Museum of Science, is closer to the ocean than the other, and it stands to reason that it would have a higher salinity, that is, salt content in the water. So, as we learned before, we can use a heat map to view a variable on the map. If I turn off the markers and make the heat map bigger, I can see that there was in fact some salinity recorded at each location. But to get a better feel for it, let's look at the timeline. Looking at the timeline, we have the tools to the right. We still have our groups. We have Museum of Science in blue and Watertown Dam in green, which are displayed by those lines. We can change our y-axis. Right now it's viewing temperature. We can zoom in and out, and we can switch from lines to symbols and lines. So let's take a look at salinity. And we can see that I could show multiple things on a timeline right now. Squares represent temperature and triangles represent salinity, but they're on two different scales, so let's only look at salinity. Now, we were wondering whether salinity was higher at the Museum of Science, and over time we can see that yes, it was higher, it never got lower than the other point. But there's another way to look at the data, and that's by averages. So let's switch over to bar. Looking at the bar chart, we have the same grouping tools, with Museum of Science still being blue and Watertown Dam still being green. We have access to the y-axis again, and I can change the y-axis and add multiple variables to the bar chart. We can also sort, say by salinity, and have the lowest to the highest values. And we can change the analysis type. And since we're trying to figure out whether the salinity was on average higher, I could switch to mean. And now we can see that, yes, the average salinity is higher at the Museum of Science as 0.44 than it is at the Watertown Dam, 0.23. So based on the map, the timeline, and the bar chart, we can show that one location did have a higher salinity than the other. Thanks for watching.